What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Perseverance, Part 1, Episode 3. Okay, last episode we were here with the killer dog. Not on the screen right yet, but we're trying to figure out what we're going to do to be able to free the dog, because we got this knot that's super duper tight, and we can't really do it with our hands. So let's just check and see what we can do here. I could use batteries, rifle, flashlight, pocket knife. I'm gonna use a pocket knife. Well, an obvious choice. What else is a knife for? Sadly, it wasn't that easy. The knife was pretty dull, still useful for things like opening cans, but not so much for cutting. With the rope so thick, it would take ages before I got through even half of it. I needed something else. Well, a sandwich isn't gonna do a damn thing. See, I'm really trying to avoid shooting it because it's going to freak out the dog. I intended to use the batteries I bought at the station and the flashlight, but so far I hadn't neither the chance or the need to do it. I took one out of the packaging. Okay. No, just no. There's no way to use a flashlight to cut. Wait, I have an idea. The flashlight itself was useless to me now, but the light bulb could be used for various things. Starting a fire was one of them. I took the flashlight apart and picked the bulb. I had all the things I needed. Now was the time to set my plan in motion. Using the pocket knife, I broke the light bulb to expose the tungsten filament. When I placed it under the rope and carefully touched the base of the bulb with the battery, the filament lit up immediately. The heat allowed me to melt the cover of the rope, which made cutting it much easier. As I was cutting the rope with my knife, I kept watching the dog. He sat there and was growling from time to time. I knew that he would attack if we sensed hesitation or fear. Dogs respond to emotions. I focused on the rope and tried not to think about him snapping at me. It took a couple of minutes, but eventually the dog was free. Hey, buddy. Your prison time is over. Woof, woof. What do you want me to do now? Not that you have much choice. Sorry, mate, but you look like a typical lap dog. Staying out here is out of the question. Plus, your neck looks pretty bad. Someone should take care of it. Perhaps I know a guy but I need you to come back to my cabin. It's an hour's walk from here. So what do you think? You up for a stroll? All right. I'll take it as a yes. Probably wasn't a yes. The dog was still wary and rather hesitant to follow me. No wonder it was impossible to tell how long he had been tied to that tree. Thankfully, last of the sandwiches did the trick. Achievement unlocked? Savior. Uh-oh, and it's this woman again. Somewhere else. Oh, crap. Okay, what the hell was that? Did she have the plug pulled or something? I was able to lead the dog all the way back to the cabin. I pulled out my phone and called for reinforcements. I knew how to patch up small scratches, but this guy needed someone more skilled than me. Oh, he's calling his wife Natalie. Nope, Jack. Hey, veterinarian boy. Hi, Jack. You remember you must have been good with ladies. Yeah, sure. I need your help. You know a thing or two about treating animals, right? Yeah, a thing or two. Why? You had to change your heart about shooting animals? No, I still hold my point. But I found a dog tied to a tree. Some bastard left him there to die. He's in bad shape. Did you beat up the guy? No, but I would have if I had the chance. Anyway, the dog needs your attention. Wow, I mean, it's awful. Let me just grab my gear and I'll be right there. Are you going to leave your store unattended? Yeah, 2 hours won't hurt me. I've earned the weekend's money already. The troops that arrived recently at Murphy's base left a lot of cash. Alright, thanks, man. See you soon. Nice. We got my wife's lover coming to help with a weird dog thing. Bob came earlier than expected. My guess was that he had been speeding all the way. Hey, Jack, where's the patient? You don't waste time, do you? Over there. It took some convincing to get the dog to walk through the door, but in the end, the prospect of a warm place to rest won him over. Bob approached the animal slowly. He clicked his tongue to get the dog's attention, and then he extended his hand so the dog could smell it. Unlike me, he seemed to know exactly what to do. Bob reached down to remove the collar. I wondered if he would be able to keep his hands intact. Fortunately, he was. Not only that, he also managed to clean the wound, even though the dog clearly wasn't happy about it. The animal began growling and leaning away, but the fearless man grabbed him firmly. The dog calmed down. Although I wouldn't openly admit, I was impressed. I would have never guessed that a simple guy from a small gas station would know so much about handling animals. To be honest, I used to look down on him. I didn't know why exactly he had abandoned his studies. He seemed amazingly skilled. I doubted it was because of poor marks. Alright, I did as much as I could. The wound isn't actually that bad. His neck is swollen and there was some bleeding, but the cut wasn't deep. He's a tough little fellow. But remember, in the end, I'm not a specialist. You should take him to a professional. Yeah, I know. It's just that there's no other vet around here. And driving this fellow back home with the wound would have been pretty hard on him. That's why I called you. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be open to trips with strangers yet. I also brought you some dog food. Don't give him too much at once. If he didn't eat for a few days, he might not digest it properly. Anyway, what will you do with him? I don't know yet. When I found him, I just had to help him. I didn't have much time to think about what to do with him later. I don't feel like giving him away to a shelter. Maybe you could take him? He seems to trust you. I would love to have a dog, but you know fully well that I can't, Jack. Don't tempt me. Why not? You seem to be doing pretty well these days, and no. Just no. You don't know how serious my debts are. I won't take responsibility for a living creature when I can't predict if I'll be able to pay my own bills next month. How a young guy like you got into such debts? Well, long story short, back when I was still studying, me and my brother took over our father's company. It was in pretty bad shape, but we were sure we could restore it and start making money again. I even dropped out of college to have enough time to make it work. It didn't work out. The amount of work overwhelmed us both, but we didn't want to give up. We were stubborn people, me and my brother. Eventually, we went to a bank for a loan, and that's how we ended up in debt. At one point, my brother decided that it was all my fault, that I hadn't done enough, that I was slacking. He accused me of all his bad decisions. I snapped and left. I've taken his gun with me. A few months later, I ended up here. Sounds tough. Yeah, I doubt there is anything worse than losing your close one's support. Sometimes it's better to leave than to manage with a tough person. But hey, it's all water under the bridge, unless my brother comes after me to collect his gun. I didn't know you owned a gun. Well, I need to look after my business. You never know. So what do you intend to do with the dog? Actually, I was talking with Hope about adopting a dog yesterday, right before we started arguing. You seem to argue with your family a lot recently. I can sense your anger, Jack. Oh, really? What is it? Does my aura give it away? See, it comes out again. Doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Anyway, Hope accused me of not spending enough time with her, so I was thinking maybe getting her a dog would be a good way of reconnecting with her. Sounds like what she needs is your love, not a pet. A dog was just her way of drawing your attention. I know, but it seems like a good start, right? Sure, any reason to spend more time with your kid is good. You should give the dog a name. A name. Coming up with one was always tricky. It would have taken weeks if I was to really think it through. I decided to go with what came to my mind now. I looked at the dog. He tilted his head. The first idea was pretty simple. Odin, the Norse god of war, victory, and hunting. It was a good, strong name. A second name that came to me was Xander. As a boy, I really hated learning history, yet I always liked listening about Alexander the Great. It seemed more thrilling than the rest of the subjects. I wouldn't mind naming the dog after him. The last idea emerged when I thought about Hope. What was the favorite movie of hers called? Dragon something? And where's the dragon? There must have been a brave knight to defeat it. This guy here was big enough to be called Knight. I decided to go with Knight. I'll name him Knight. It fits him well. By the way, Jack, there's one more thing I need to tell you. I've been sleeping with your wife. Don't tell me you and Nat having an affair. I would have to shoot you right here. Please don't. I still got my debts to pay off. What is it then? There's this chick at the station asking for Hal. She said she knew you. No, not really. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, she's just a chick I met and wanted to help. She seemed out of place. At first I thought she was some kind of junkie. She gave me this really weird feeling. She was shivering, too. Anyway, Hal took her to the station, so she's not my problem anymore. But that's not all. Another woman arrived last evening asking after that chick. There was something about her I couldn't quite put my fingers on. And boy, was she a stunner. You should have seen her. She was lean like a doe. What was I saying? The other woman? Oh, yeah. She asked about the military base. I thought she might be a spook or something. A spook? You been watching too many action flicks, Chief? I'm telling you, man, something's going down. So many new soldiers arrived yesterday. Now this woman. There's also a guy with a briefcase this morning, and he... Hold up, Bob. You're getting carried away. There's just another weekend in town, only with some outsiders traveling through. Yeah, you're probably right. I better head back. I got a business to run. See you later, Chief. When Bob left, I approached the night. I decided to try Bob's trick and see if I could get a similar result. I clicked my tongue and extended my hand. At first, the dog just sniffed my palm, reluctant to do anything more. But after a brief moment of hesitation, he licked my fingers. I took it as a good sign. It was a start. So does this mean we're friends now? Right on. I scratched his back, causing a lot of tail wagging. It was just as I thought. He was a lapdog. His previous aggression must have been caused by a mix of fear and pain. As I patted him on his head, he was nothing more but a giant pet. A pet with a jaw full of fangs and enough biting force to take your hand off. Still a pet. Hope would love him for sure. Funny that I came here to escape from all the attention with Natalie, but thanks to my new friend, I wanted to go back. I wanted to see the surprise on their faces. I wanted to see how happy Hope would be and how Natalie, unsure at first, would change her mind as soon as she saw them playing together. I knew it wouldn't resolve all our issues, that I would still need to face my shortcomings. The dog gave me a starting point. I knew what I needed. I knew what to do and had the confidence to do it. It didn't took night long to start frolicking around. I wasn't against the little wrestle playing, but knowing that the wound on his neck was still pretty fresh, I tried to do it as carefully as possible. Yet when nearly 30 kilos of deadly fluffiness jumped on me, I got overturned in a moment. I was too afraid to grab the dog by the skin. Soon I regretted it. I hadn't done it, as our little play caused additional cost. I heard a loud crack near the right pocket. Okay, buddy, stop. That's enough. No, Knight, enough. Sit. When I finally managed to get from under the dog, I reached into my pocket only to find that my phone took the whole enterprise pretty badly. The screen was covered in cracks, the battery went loose, and the frame above the speaker was smashed. For a second, I thought it was done for. Fortunately, as soon as I put the battery back in, the phone came to life. The case was cracked, but it was still usable. In the end, I decided to call it a night. It had been a long day. I planned on going for a hunt in the morning, so hitting the bed early was crucial. Somewhere else. Reporting in. This is not a scheduled call, Agent. The woman got away. No one told me what to expect of her. She attacked several people at the hospital. I saw her. Calm down, Agent. This wasn't in the briefing. The girl basically bit her way out of the hospital and jumped off a third-story window. She was like mad. I've never seen anything like that. And others. The locals are shocked. The sheriff wants to organize a manhunt. I've already seen soldiers from the military base moving around the town. Oh, dear God. The town will undergo a quarantine in a matter of 2 hours. This should make your second task easier. Your briefing. Listen to me. If what she is carrying is infectious, your quarantine won't be able to contain it. People will die. I need to find her. Calm down, Agent. Focus on your second target and let us do our part. What about my extraction? You'll figure something out. Your task is to secure the scientist and get him out alive. And the second asset? He is none of your concern. Find the scientist, get him out alive, bring him to us. Do not fail this time. We would be very sorry to see you go. They gonna be offing people soon. It was still dark outside when I woke up. Knight was sleeping on the carpet near the fireplace. I rubbed my eyes and reached down for the phone to check the time. Weird. Seems the battery is dead. I was pretty sure it was around 40% in the evening before. It seemed impossible to have discharged it overnight. I must have forgotten to turn it off or something. There was nothing I could do about it now. I plugged the charger and went to wake up my new friend. Hey, buddy. Are you in for a hunt? Come on, you'll like it. and I could use some help. Think you're up for it? Right on. That's more like it. To be honest, I had no idea if taking Knight was a good idea. There's a pretty big chance he would scare all the other animals away. People often hunt them with their hounds, but you need to know how to train your dog for it. Worst case scenario, we would just have a nice stroll around the forest. I took my pocket knife, my rifle, and a piece of bandage with me. I wanted to be prepared better than the day before. I knew the area surrounding the cabin pretty well. I had a general idea where the deers tended to roam. Even if I wouldn't shoot any, it was always great to spot one. That's what I had tried to communicate to Bob. It's not about the shot, it's about the hunt. We were walking quietly for half an hour. I was thinking about the guy who had left Knight. I had no respect for such a person. I remembered the rope. It must have belonged to a climber or somebody who was working with boats. Bastard. Suddenly, Knight stopped and started sniffing around. I knew he must have caught a trace. I had a feeling he was a real predator after all. I decided to trust his instincts. A dog's sense of smell could guide you places you would otherwise miss. He stood still for a minute, focused in one direction. He began to growl, but I couldn't see anything. The dog began to run. I struggled to keep up with him. I was trying to guess what we both were up against, a bear or a deer or something else. However, what I saw was a person, a young man in a blue sport jacket and a baseball hat. Silver carabiners at his belt rattled as he walked. Compared to me, he made a hell of a lot of noise. I'd never seen him before. What I did recognize, though, was the place we were in, the same place where I found Knight the day before. Before I had a chance to connect all the dots, all hell broke loose. The two of us weren't the only people around. There was someone else, someone I didn't expect to see again. It was the woman from the gas station, Jane. She was moving extremely fast. She ran up to the unsuspecting guy and jumped right on top of him, knocking him down. She leaned down towards his arm and... oh my God. That's when the screaming started. At first, I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. My mind tried to come up with some kind of explanation. Maybe they were just fooling around. Maybe it was some stupid charade. Maybe I was daydreaming. It took some time before the reality of what was happening hit me fully. I would never forget that sight. Jane bent part of the guy's arm out and swallowed it. I saw her face. She was covered in blood when she bent down again to sink her teeth into the guy's throat. It was no longer... oops. She was devouring a living person. Can you imagine it? The guy was screaming in pain. He was trying to push her off, but didn't have enough strength. When she reached for the neck, it was already too late for him. Soon, the screaming was replaced by gargling and gnawing. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear. Knight reacted first. He lunged at Jane, clenching his jaw in her hand. Oh, Jesus. What? I don't know where her strength came from, but she torn the dog's jaw open and threw him away. As if he were a paper doll. That's when she noticed me. Even though there was more than 20 meters between us, I could see her eyes. They weren't human anymore. She wasn't human. She was something else. There was nothing in her face besides the primal rage. It was the ancient fury of a wild beast in its most basic form. She lunged right at me. Her moves were quick and determined. She caught up with me before I had any time to think. Moments like this make you act on your instinct. Shoot her. I never gave a conscious thought. Raised my rifle. My body acted on its own, recognizing the familiar motion. I aimed and took one shot. For a split second, my mind became crystal clear. I wasn't sure if it would make any difference. I breathed out and awaited the sentence. It was enough. I shot her right in the chest and through a lung. She was squirming on the grass, whimpering as her breath grew desperate and her moves sluggish. She started crying. When I shot animals, I always made sure they didn't suffer. If my shot missed its mark, I shot again. But this was different. I stood above a young woman crying from pain. A woman who tried to eat a man alive a few seconds prior. A woman whom I had met 2 days earlier. What was I supposed to do? Oh dear God. I'm not gonna do run away. I'm definitely not gonna help her. Either we shoot her again or we knock her out. I think I'm gonna knock her out. kept my rifle close when I approached her. As long as she was conscious, the danger wasn't gone. She moved, I panicked and punched her hard with the bottom of my rifle. I knocked her out immediately. I waited for a few seconds before I realized she wasn't getting up. This was my chance. I had to know what was going on. My first thought was to look for any piece of a clue I could find. I searched her pockets, but the only thing I found was a torn paper bracelet from a hospital, and then I remembered. She must have been that junkie case that Natalie had told me about on the phone. My mind started to race. Had Natalie and this woman met? Was Natalie safe? What had happened at the hospital? I had to know. Still, I had to deal with the woman first. I think if we do this, we're gonna get eaten. I couldn't stand the sight anymore. I reached for my rifle and took aim. As I looked through the gun sight, our eyes met again. This time, something was different. She was calm. It looked like as if her eyes begged me to end the pain. Those weren't the eyes of a beast anymore. It was her. I couldn't bring myself to speak her name. Holy shit. And you know what? I'm ending it right here because we don't know what is going to happen now. And this is what I was talking to you guys about. I think at the previous episode, the beginning, saying that it was a bit of a slow start and we were in for something crazy. Yeah, here's that crazy. So thank you for watching, everybody. I really hope you're enjoying it. Now it's getting interesting. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.